Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I am Christy Vann with VANNtastic Finances, and on this channel I teach velocity banking. And if you're wondering why I am just super excited, you're going to be surprised. The fact is that I have overcome a fly that has tortured me all day during my one-on-ones, and guess what? I just took it out. Yes. I just took out the fly. Now I have peace. I have peace, right? That is pretty sad that a fly can torture you all morning like it has me, but guess what? We're here now and we are ready to get some things accomplished when it comes to talking to you about your finances and what is happening when you are debt free, how it feels. How does it feel to you? For you guys that have been working with the velocity banking strategy and you're feeling the freedom, let's talk about it. Tell me a little bit about what that feels like. How are you working out your own strategy? Are you just using a line of credit? Have you seen how the line of credit can take those payments away and give you additional cash flow that is now actually making your life so much more peaceful? Oh my goodness, we're all wanting peace, right? So, for goodness gracious, let's get into a strategy so that we can stop the stress of debt. Debt is an absolute illusion. They have us in a bind and we think we're stuck there, but we're not. You're not stuck there. You just feel like you are. We could talk about fear all day long. I have you guys leaving these comments on the YouTube channel talking about, well, what if? What if, you know, I get into a line of credit and they raise the interest rates? I hear the what ifs all day. What if you're walking down the street and you trip over a stick on the sidewalk and you fall and your face lands in dog poopy and it gets in your mouth and you like it? What if? I had my husband tell me that a few years ago, and that makes all the sense. So we can what if ourselves to death. We can assume that, oh, the worst is going to happen. But what if you try something new? And what if it works for you in ways you did not even think was possible? That's what velocity banking is. It's a new mindset. It's showing you how to use a bank in ways that you never even knew existed because we weren't taught how to use the bank. There's not one class in high schools that teach you how to use the bank. There's not a class in college that teaches you how to use the bank. The bank has tools. So, if I'm going to take a screw out of a wall, I don't go get a hammer. And if I'm wanting to, what? I don't even know what you do with tools. Okay, so if I'm wanting to saw a piece of wood, I don't go get a screwdriver. And until you learn that there are different tools in a bank that you can use or maybe you shouldn't use, then you're really going to be excited to learn that there's a different way to use the bank to get your finances under control. And it's really that simple. It's just math. And I say that all the time in my videos, in my lives. It's just math. It's not magic. It's not something that oh, you've got to, speak over and it's going to blah. No, this is about math. Math works every time. It's going to show you if it's good for you. It's going to show you if it's not good for you. But if you don't know how to use a tool at the bank and what that tool does, then you're not going to get out of debt. You're going to stay in that same cycle of making the payments, making the payments. That's all they teach us to do, is make the payments, right? So if you are busy making payments, then you're probably living paycheck to paycheck. That's the way I lived for years, and that may be the way you are living right now. I'm here to tell you that you can stop that. You can stop the paycheck to paycheck living probably a whole lot faster than you ever thought. Okay? Why? Why is that? Well, it's because you don't know how to use the bank, and that's what the channel teaches you, how to use the bank. Okay? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about why using the line of credit is so much better than taking out a loan. If you need more information about what I'm even talking about, then the YouTube channel has so many videos. You could sit and watch them all day, and you are going to learn something, even if you're a naysayer, even if you love to demean people or you love to be that negative person. How about stepping out of that life of seeping anger that you must be living in, that you would want to demean another person, that you would want to badmouth somebody that you don't even know? And how about stepping over into the light and let's work on yourself and get your mind off of other people, and let's focus on what you can do to make your life better. Okay? Uh, you're not going to hurt my feelings because I'm not here to pull you into anything. I don't want you to buy anything from me. I am not in this to sell you something. I'm not a salesman, and I'm not going to pretend I am. I am in this so that you can get some information to make your life better. Okay? And if you're bored with this, then please sign off right now. I don't want you here. And there's about 100,000 people watching that don't want you here. So this isn't for you if you're a naysayer. I can't say it loud or clearer enough. If you're not here to learn something to make yourself better, then please find somewhere else to go, because there's all kinds of TikTok and YouTube channels that you can go to that's going to feed into whatever your desire is. My desire is to help people get free, and I am excited to teach you how to do that. Okay? So let's talk about what these lines of credit do, what they look like, and how they're going to change your life if you use them correctly, especially buying things. We all want to buy things. We need to buy things. We need to repair things around the house, maybe. We need to do repairs on the car. You don't want that stressing you out about, how am I going to do this? Your kids, they want to attend some kind of sports camp this summer, and you couldn't afford to pay for it. I've been there. I've done that. I know how it feels to have to tell your children no because you just don't have the money. But you may have stepped into something here that's going to free you up. It's going to free your finances up so that you're able to allow your children to do the things that they want to do. Maybe you have a desire to do things that you want to do. Maybe you want a boat for the lake. I don't know. What is it that you want? If you watched the live that I did yesterday, we were talking about writing down your goals so that you know what you want. Maybe 90% of you watching right now have no idea what you want because you've never sit down and thought about it. Because you know what? You're watching other people do and have success in their life rather than you jumping out and getting it in your own. I'm really guilty of watching Judge Judy every day. I just love her. Judy Justice, is that what it is? I think she is a good, honest person, and I love watching how she sometimes gets mean with people. But me sitting, taking my time watching her show and her success doesn't do anything for my life. It's just some entertainment. And if you're sitting around watching other people's success on YouTube or whatever, think about what you could be doing with your own life with that time that you're wasting sitting there, right? So just start thinking about some things to do with your own life. Get positive. Jesus said that he came to give us life and life more abundantly. And if Satan is here to steal, kill, and destroy, which side are you on? Are you living the abundant life? Or do you feel like that your whole life has been nothing but stolen? That you've not got to enjoy your life? Abundance or nothing? It's your decision. They're both here. We choose life or death. And if you have someone in your life that is sucking the life out of you, what are you choosing? I've dealt with that so much. A person in your life is just sucking the life out of you, and you are exhausted being around them. They always have something negative to say. They always are demeaning something that you want to do, your dream. Maybe you just want to take your kids out for a movie, and they'll find something negative about that. And it may be a family member, and it probably is. So the point is get your life in control. If you don't, somebody else will control it for you. Okay, so just a little pep talk here, I guess, to let you guys know that I have been in these situations. And when you're talking about your finances, that's just one facet of life, and a very draining one if you don't have it under control. But I'm here to tell you that you can get your finances in control like you've never had before. It's empowering to know that you have your finances under control, that you don't need somebody else to give you money, to feel sorry for you because you're broke, because you are going to be able to do anything and everything that you want to financially once you learn how to use the bank. Okay? Get your life under control. I only want to see you guys do that. I only want to see positive things flowing from everyone around me. And any information that I can give you, I want to. And like I said, it's free information. So take it or leave it. I could care less. Okay? I just want you to be happy, whatever that means. So we're going to talk about the line of credit. So you'll see me call it an LOC. There's all kinds of lines of credit out there. And I want to tell you the business line of credit, if you own a business, and I was just working with a lady, she had never thought of the business line of credit. From what I've seen, the business line of credit can offer you a higher limit and a lower interest rate. So of course, we're always going for that. So if you have an LLC of any sort, to feel, free to kind of check that out, see what you can get with the business side. It may be better than what you can do on the personal side. But anyway, the line of credit is a revolving line, okay? What does that mean? Well, when something is revolving, and you can look at this like your credit cards even, they're revolving, meaning you can put income in, and we call them making payments because that's what we're programmed to do, is make payments. But you can put your income in for a payment, or you can pull it back out and use it as credit. Okay, so your income can go in, then you can turn right around and use it again. That's why they call this revolving. Now, I knew that credit cards, and go with me here a second because you maybe have this same mind frame with your thoughts on the credit cards. If I was given a $500 limit on a credit card, and then I'm charging it up, okay, so now I have a $500 balance on the credit card. Back in the day, if it had a $25 payment, then I thought, okay, well, I've used all of the credit that I have on the credit card. Now I just have to make payments. Okay. That is such a stuck place to be. To think that, okay, well, I've got a $500 balance now on my credit card. I can't use it anymore because it's to the limit. So I'm just making $25 payments. And there's a couple of things about that's restricting. When you have, and I hope that you guys can see the board okay, but when you have a $500 balance on a credit card, and I know some of you guys have 5,000, 15,000, 50,000 on credit cards. I'm just talking a very basic number here so that I can maybe help you get your mind wrapped around what is happening with this revolving line of credit with this credit card that you maybe weren't even aware of. I'm telling you this because I wasn't aware of this. I was just making payments. You may be sitting back making payments right now. And you may have a $500 or $600 payment per month on one card. Okay. So when I talk to you one-on-one in my meetings, the whole point of the meeting is to find you some cash flow so that you can breathe again. How many of you, and I know you're in here, can't breathe because you're trying to figure out how you're going to make a payment? I lived like that decades. We're trying to figure out how to make a payment. And I'm showing a very small balance here on a credit card. And why, to me, 15, 20 years ago, it was so overwhelming just having a $500 balance on a credit card. I've come a long way, people. I've come a long way, and I want to bring you up with me. And maybe you already know this. Maybe you don't need the information that I'm talking about right now. I'm happy for you if you don't. But you know what? According to the comments that I read in TikTok and the YouTube channel, we still have people out there that are suffering with making these credit card payments. And if I told you that there's a better way, would you even believe that? Would you even, because some people, oh, all right, she's just wasting my time. She has no idea what she's talking about. Let me see if I can listen here a minute and figure her out. I know what you're saying because I've done it too. But if you have a $500 balance and you're making $25 payments per month, and like I said, for me, this was stressful because I was broke. $25 meant a lot to me back in the day. But when I figured out that this has interest on it, and let's just say it's a 20% interest, okay? So 500 times 20% divided by 12, that's $8.33 at 20% interest. All right, so if I'm putting $25 into the credit card, we'll just do the math. $25 goes in. $475 would be my balance, right? No, not hardly, because they're going to add the interest in there. Do you get where I'm going? Is that $25 payment wasn't really a $25 payment because your interest is calculated, right? They're going to charge interest. Now, my problem, because I was broke, I was always making the payment late. I know, one day late on a credit card. And they're going to charge you what? $25, $30? Maybe? $25, $30 in a fee because you were one day late? Well, what did it do to your $500 balance that you already have, even if you put in the $25 due? It took you over your limit, right? So let's just do the math. So we have a $500 credit card. I am a day late, so they charge $30 for a fee. Now I am over my limit, which was $500, and so they're going to charge another $30 fee for an over the limit. So $560. Do you see where I'm going here? My $25 payment is doing nothing, right? It's just continually keeping me in a balance that's over my limit, that they're going to keep charging me every month that's over the limit. You can't get ahead. You can't win like this. This is the life I lived. Okay? And I'm here to tell you, you can come out of these messes. Maybe you've never experienced this, and if you haven't, then hooray for you. But if you have and are experiencing this, wow, let me tell you, this game that you're about to watch be played here can end this. It can end this. That's what we want to do, is bring you peace. So let's see how we can end the insanity of what's happening with this monthly payment that you need to make on this credit card. So we're going to go back now to the $500 balance. I'll take this off too. That you have on a credit card. And let's talk about your food. Okay, so food. And my family, we're running pretty high because we're pretty ridiculous on eating out and stuff. So let's say that I'm spending $1,500 a month in food. Let's say that my gas for my car is probably $300. So I don't drive too much because I work from home. So $300 a month in gas. So just looking at these two, what could I do with that $500 balance that continually stays in this credit card, and they get to charge me the interest every month just because I'm leaving this sitting at this balance? Well, let's just forget the food. What if we were to put our gas on to this credit card? And when I say that, your mind may have gone like, what does that even mean? Well, if I am buying gas every month and, $20 here, $50 there, whenever I stop, whatever I fill up, okay? I'm going to be buying gas anyway. Right? So if I'm buying gas anyway, then why wouldn't I put my income into this card, bringing this balance down, satisfying that monthly payment that was going to have to be made on the credit card. Why wouldn't I do that instead? Then, as I buy gas, I use this credit card. And then slowly throughout the month, it builds back up. What did this do if I'm using a credit card in this manner? Well, one, when my income went in, it covered the amount due, so I'm not going to be late on my payment. Now, some of you, that just flew right over your head. Because you're like, wait a minute, wait, slow down. You put the income into the credit card to only pay for your gas throughout the month. I still have to make my payment, right? You just did. They give you an amount that is due on your due date, and they want you to put that amount into your card. When you put the amount into your card, they say, okay, you made the payment. You satisfied what it was that we were wanting to see you put into the card that month. But wait a minute, that seems too simple. And I gain cash rewards when I charge on my credit card. I may gain 1%. I may gain 5%. And the stress is gone from having a $500 payment or balance on this credit card. All of that happened just because I decided to use my credit card correctly. It's that simple. It's that simple. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about a $500 balance that you have on a credit card, if you're talking about a $10,000 balance that you have on a personal line of credit, or you're talking about a $300,000 balance that you have on a first lien HELOC. When you learn to use your lines of credit, and I'm talking about lines of credit, I'm not talking about loans. Loans are crap. We're going to talk about why they're crap. But if you are using the line, remember the revolving, what is going on? Okay, time for new marker. The revolving line of credit. Income can go in, expenses can come back out. When you learn to use these lines, your debt's going to pay off. And I know that sounds insane, but your debt's going to pay off when you use the line and you use it correctly. Just like the mind frame that I had back in the day was they approved me for $500. Praise the Lord. I've got $500 to spend. Oh, wait a minute. That was in one purchase there I made. Say I took the girls for school clothes, and well, that $500 is gone now. Here we go. Time to make some payments. Gotta make our payment. And I'm never going to have $500 to use again on that card because, well, I spent it all on clothes. Do you see the insanity there? The point is that if you have a balance on your credit card right now, and you can take some of your expenses and put them onto the credit card, such as I showed here with the gas, you may be super excited to realize, wait a minute, I have this to use again because I put my income into it and it reduced my balance, and now I'll just charge it back up again. Isn't that like totally, totally beautiful? That you don't have to be stressed out about your credit cards anymore? What if you have 5 credit cards? I get this question all the time. Well, I have 5 credit cards. How is this going to help me? Well, I don't know. Maybe if you find 5 of your living expenses that you can charge onto a credit card, and then you start putting the living expenses, charging them back off here, and your income's going in, your expenses are coming out. Your income is going in, your expenses are coming out. I hope that that one little piece of suggestion just changed your life, because it did mine when I heard it. And sometimes I go over and over and over this because, you'll do velocity banking for a little while. You'll get excited about how you're using your money, and then you'll forget, or you'll get stressed out and the fear comes over you again. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't use my credit cards that way. Dave Ramsey told me to cut them up, and here I am using them. Oh my gosh, here I am. I'm back in this mess again. The fear. What is fear? Fear is faith that is perverted. Fear is exactly what it is just a feeling. Let's see what fear. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Is that what you're in? Is you're in a fear to try something new? I worked with a man yesterday, and his wife would not work with him on his finances because of the what ifs. What if? What if the interest rates go up and it completely devours our payment, and now we don't have any cash flow because blah, 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 because, what if? It's not happened since I've been alive in 53 years, but what if? It might. What if the interest rates go really low and you get all of your debt paid off within, I don't know, a couple of years? What if? Maybe you could flip that around a little bit and stop with the fear, the false evidence appearing real, and think positive for once in your life. I mean, what if everything went exactly the way you think it's going to go, or it should go, and it does? But I have people that are wrapped up in fear to the point that they won't just do a strategy and get free. I had a guy, literally, I hear this all the time, but just this week, he literally said, I've been watching your videos for 2 years. I love what you talk about, but I've just never gone out and got a line of credit. And you're like, 2 years? When I ran his numbers, he was going to be out of debt in 48 months. He wasted 2 years in fear of the what ifs. And so now, guess what? He still has 48 months to pay off his debt, because he has literally been like, oh, well, I'll go get one, but if I do, what if I don't use it right? Or what if? The point is if you don't try something new, you're going to stay stuck, because you've been sitting in this interest piling up debt for decades, and you're going to keep spinning your wheels because you're afraid. You're afraid. When I learned how the lines of credit worked, as soon as I heard Matthew Pillmore, and bless him for coming out with this information, as soon as I saw what he did with that credit card, where he put his income in and the payment disappeared, I was like, oh my goodness, wait a minute. What just happened? Why did the payment go away? That was all brand new news to me. And it has completely changed my life. Now, if you have, let's get this off of here for you fearful people. Oh my goodness. I get it, but I never had the fear. I was so excited to get out of debt. I had no fear about the strategy. It was just math. It was just common sense. Total common sense. We've been fed these stupid lies on, well, make your payments. You got to make your payments, because if you make your payments, then you'll get a good credit score, and you'll get more credit available to you, and we just want to make our payments, and you know what, then we'll refinance it, and then when we refinance it, then okay, we're going to have a little bit more cash, and they're going to give us some more money out of our home, and then we'll have a new payment, and it may be smaller because they reduced it because they love us, and they're so good to us. Oh my gosh. Listen, I wish that a lot of people, I could just erase their minds what they've been taught about the bank and say, okay, so let's start fresh, and let's just see what we can do with your debt. So if you have, and I'm going to work with the multiple credit cards here for a minute, because I know several of you guys have more than one. Some of you have 25. I have about 13, but I know how to use them, and I don't keep balances on them. Okay, so when you learn how this works, you're going to see that it's super amazing that you don't have to be in credit card debt, and how quickly you can get out. So if you pay for your food every month, and you're going to be paying, you've done the averages, and like me, you're going to be paying $1,500. Okay, so we go through about $1,500 in food expense. Again, the gas about $300. We've got subscriptions, anything from paying your alarm for your home. You have a subscription. You pay Netflix, Hulu, maybe YouTube, whatever other subscription. So let's say that I've got about $200 in subscriptions a month. You have to pay your trash bill, your utilities, the electric, your phone bills, whatever. So let's say your phones are 200. Your utilities, let's say that they are, I don't know, 500, depending on where you live. So let's just take these right here, and let's pretend that we have 5 credit cards. Okay, so the first credit card, let's say that you have a $15,000 balance on it, and it's 29%. So 15,000 times 29%, that's going to be about $363 in interest. So it looks like that your payment's probably going to be about $600 per month. So credit card number 1 is $600 per month in a payment. So what happens if this food, what if your income goes onto that credit card just to pay your food? What happened to your $600 payment? It was satisfied. Okay. So let's go to credit card number 2. This is 1, this is 2. Let's say it has a $250 payment per month. We'll go on to credit card number 3. We'll say it has a $200 payment per month. Let's do credit card number 4. Maybe it has a $400 credit card payment per month. And then credit card number 5. Maybe, oh wait, let's do number signs, not dollar signs. And then number 5, let's say it has a $100 payment per month. So if you do the numbers here, and let's add together. I'll use my calculator so I don't mess up. So 600 plus 250 plus 200 plus 400 plus 100. That's $1,550 in monthly payments you're making per month onto these credit cards. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And you wonder why you're broke. I know why you're broke, but you're wondering why you're broke. So let's imagine that, okay, we're going to start with our balances here. So we'll say this has a $15,000 balance on this one. Let's say this one has a $4,500 balance. This one, let's say it's about the same, 4,000. This one we're going to say is about 10,000. And then this one, let's say it's 2,000. Okay. So you've got these balances on the credit cards. You're making these monthly payments, right? You're paying a total of $1,550 in payments per month. And you're actually paying interest, okay? So let's look at the interest. So with this, the $600, remember I said is about $333 in interest alone. Now at 4,500, if you're at 25%, which is an average, that's a $94. So this one would be 94, and I'm going to be sloppy here because I'm doing some math. This one is 4,000, and let's say it's at 25% too. So you're at about 84 in interest per month. Then this 10,000, so 10,000 times 25% divided by 12 is 209, let's say. That's interest. And then you've got 2,000 at 25%. That's $42 per month in interest. So let's add up the interest. So 333, 94, 84, 209, and 42. So $762 of this $1,550 is interest only. Okay? So out of your $1,550 payment you're making, $762 is interest only. So that means $788 is all that's applying to all of this credit card debt. And you wonder why you're broke. So if you had just this $762 per month that you're paying out in interest, you're just throwing it away. $762, you're just like, oh, well, that's what I have to pay the bank, so I'm throwing it away. What if you had that sitting in your pocket every month? What if you had $762? Would you wonder how you're going to pay for your kids' basketball camp this summer? Would you wonder how you're going to pay for the flat tire? Would you wonder Maybe I can't take my kids out for a movie tonight because I don't have any extra money. No. The fact is that this interest here, that's where your money is going. Because you're not paying off your debt, you're paying interest to the bank. So if you were to take these expenses for each credit card, putting the expenses chargeable into the credit card, does that mean that when the income goes in to cover these living expenses that you have $1,550 that's now cash flow and not payments? Wait, Christy, back up. Hold on. Hold on a minute. You're going too fast. You just went over my head. Are you telling me that just because I use my credit cards as revolving lines of credit, that I have satisfied these payments? I'm sorry, I got a little excited there. Tore my board up. That's okay. I've satisfied all of these monthly payments. And now this $1,550 that I was paying into these payments, these credit cards, is now cash flow. And I have $1,550. So what happens if, wait a minute, I start taking my new cash flow and putting it right back into one card at a time? Looky here, if I took 1 month of $1,550 and put into credit card number 5, I've almost paid it off because it's only a $2,000 balance. What if the next month I took the $1,550 and put it into credit card number 3 and I've reduced it by almost half? All because you learned how to use your lines of credit correctly? So how much debt did we have here? Let's add up. So we had 15,000 on one card, 4,500 on another card, 4,000 on another, 10,000 on one, and 2,000 on the other. So the total credit card debt, and I'm going to erase here a little bit so I can keep you guys on the board. So the total credit card debt is $35,500. So $35,500 total credit card debt. $1,550, right, per month in payments for these cards. So let's take this like that this is a line of credit that we paid off all of the debt and just put it into the line. Now the $1,550 is complete cash flow. What is it going to look like when we are calculating how much time it's going to take to pay off the $35,500? Let's do it. Let's say that this is a 12% interest rate, which that is about the going rate on a line of credit. So I want you to calculate the interest with me so that you understand how interest is calculated on the revolving line of credit. So 35,500 times 12% is 4,260. All right, so $4,260 in interest for the whole year. For the whole year. Okay? So this is the yearly charge. We're never going to pay that much because we know how to do velocity banking, and we're never going to pay this much interest, but let's keep going. So let's divide this by 12 so that we can see how much we're going to be paying for the first month, okay? So divide by 12, $355. Oh my goodness, hold up a minute here, dudes. So this is the first month interest on $35,500 balance on my new line of credit, but I was paying $762 per month overall for these credit cards when they were individually in different amounts on different cards. Okay, that was an eye-opener already. I could cut my interest in half nearly just moving it into a true personal line of credit. But if this person gained $1,550 per month by putting the credit cards into a line of credit, not a loan. I'm not talking about a personal loan. I'm not talking about a consolidation loan. Please don't get confused. I'm talking about a revolving line of credit. If you're going to the bank right now to ask about this, you're going to ask for a revolving line of credit, not a loan. Because I assure you, as soon as you walk into the bank and they say, you walk up and you're like, hey, I am interested in a line of credit, they're going to say, why would you want a line of credit? It's a 12% interest rate. Our loans are only 8%. It's going to happen. Get educated so you know how to answer this stuff. Okay? So if you get the 12% line of credit, your interest charge over the first month is going to be $355. Why am I saying the first month? Because it's not going to stay at this balance. You're going to be reducing this balance quickly. How quickly? Just using the $1,550 that you were making in monthly payments over all of the credit cards. Let's do the math. So if I have $1,500 in cash flow now, and I'm thinking, okay, how long is it going to take me to pay off the $35,500? Let's do the average interest, $355 divided by 2. The average would be about $178 per month. You have $1,550 in cash flow, which means $1,372 will actually be going to pay down this $35,500. So $35,500 divided by $1,372. This card, this new line, $35,000 would be paid off in about 20. Okay, what's up with my markers? 26 months. 26 months. Look at your credit card statement and see if you don't have over 10 years to pay off these credit cards by making that minimum monthly payment that they give you. Check it out and see how long you have. If it's not, I looked at a credit card last week that they had 300 months left to pay off their credit card. So let's just play games and act like it's only 10 years at that minimum monthly payment. Well, we just took it down to 26 months doing nothing but transferring these lines into one line. And I didn't do the math, but I'll bet if we did the numbers like we were showing here with how you're going to be able to transfer living expenses, charging them onto your credit cards, gaining the cash flow because you've now turned payments into cash flow using your credit cards correctly. you're not going to have any time left in the credit cards doing that. But you're sitting there making the monthly payment that they gave you, the minimum monthly payment. Some of you guys are even taking, I'll hear this every meeting nearly. Well, I know it's a $200 monthly payment, but I try to throw extra on it every month. So I might throw $50 in there. If I have an extra 50 or maybe 100, I just really try to throw everything in that I can onto the credit cards, which is a good idea. But what happens when you're actually taking serious action on what's happening with your credit cards, the credit card balances? Okay? So get educated. If if you're afraid of lines of credit, if they just scare you to death, if you're just so nervous that you can't even fathom getting a line of credit from the bank, then use Money Max. Money Max doesn't have any risk. It's just a guaranteed product that will help you to eliminate the interest, which, like I showed you, if you had $762 a month that you're paying out in interest, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that you're throwing away every month. So you don't have a spending problem. I know some of these gurus out here, they're telling you, you're an idiot. Cut up your cards. You're not an idiot. You don't have a spending problem. You have an interest problem. You wouldn't have a spending problem if you had the interest that you're throwing away every month to spend. Right? I'm just telling you, learn how to use the bank, and you're going to be super amazed at how quickly you're going to get out of debt. And for you guys that do have the college debt, bless you. Yes, this will be on YouTube for replay if you need to go back and rewatch the video. If you have the EIDL loan with your business, if you have a mortgage, if you have student loans, they are eating you up in interest. They are eating you up in interest. And, tomorrow we may talk about the mortgage and what that mortgage refinance did to you financially. Today I wanted to focus on credit cards because the Americans' credit card debt is the highest it's ever been. The highest it's ever been. And you guys are suffering out there right now because inflation is so high. And all you have to do is learn how to use the bank, get out of the debt that you're in, which is going to come. I mean, this was all telling $1,550 in monthly payments that was turned into nothing but working down debt. You can do that. You can do this. You can make it happen for yourself and stop the crazy debt, swimming in debt that you're doing right now. You can make it happen, and I know you can, and I'm excited for you because if I can do it, I know you can do it. You just weren't aware of how to do it. And, if this is your first time hearing about the velocity banking, keep watching videos. The more videos you watch, the more it will start changing your mindset and start showing you different scenarios, different ways that you can get in control like you never dreamed was possible. I want you in control. The videos on the YouTube channel are absolutely free. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Get the answers, watch the videos, get educated, learn how to do it on your own. You don't need to pay one dime. It can't be a scam if you're not paying anybody to show you how to do this. Right? It can't be a scam. And so people that scream, "Oh, this is ridiculous. This is a scam." Well, uh, who's it helping? Who's it helping? You're helping yourself. So when you get the fear out, the guy I was talking to yesterday, and oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many times in a month that I deal with the fear factor of, well, what if, and the banks could call this, or the banks, they could cut your limits and blah blah blah. I've been living it for, I guess, 15, 16 years now, and I've not had any major catastrophe that happened because I was using velocity banking. Yes, I had a credit card just last week. I went to use at a store and it declined. And I thought, now, why did that decline? Because I don't keep balances on my credit cards. I knew I wasn't charged up. And I thought, okay, well, it must have been the store. So then I go to another place later on and try to use it again and got another decline. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to check on this when I get home. When I get home, they literally in big red letters across their site said, "We have decided to discontinue credit cards." I was like, okay. Okay. Yes, that was aggravating. Yes, it got me declined at a store and it looked like that I didn't have good credit. But so what? I have 13 other credit cards I can use. You do have to build your way up eventually, but you can start today and you can see cash flow that you never realized you had just because you were using your credit cards wrong. Things are going to come up through the years. That's the first time in 15 or 16 years of doing velocity banking that I have had a credit card close on me. And it was an overall system close. It wasn't just Christy VANN. They literally decided to discontinue credit cards. If you don't believe me, it's M1 Finance. Check it out. They were one of my favorite credit cards to use. And they decided to discontinue credit cards. So things happen. I'm giving you real life examples of what's happened to me when it comes to my lines of credit. But that's what I can say has happened. So if you're living in fear of the what ifs, yes, I have gone through the ups and downs of HELOCs, variable rates. They go up and then they come back down, and then they go up and they come back down. And yes, I have lived through every rate increase that the HELOC has brought. Some of you guys are so fearful that you won't even go out and try the line of credit. And you know what? It's just another tool at the bank. It's just another tool that you can use. But we're not taught on those tools. Why? Because they don't make as much interest off of the revolving line of credit as they do the loan. So, of course, they're going to push the loan. I mean, if you were in business and you knew that you could make double, triple, quadruple, 100 times what you're making right now on the little product, wouldn't you push the big one? Common sense, right? It's common sense. So when you walk into a bank and you say, hey, I want a revolving line of credit, and they say, oh my gosh, that's 12% interest. We can give you a loan and you just pay, I don't know, 8%. 99.9% of the people are going to say, oh yeah, I want the loan. Give me the loan. Not when you get educated. I'll bet you don't do that anymore. When you get educated and you realize that the loan on an interest is charged differently than the loan on the line of credit. What did I just say? The interest on the loan is charged differently than the interest on the line of credit. When you see how much differently everything is, how they're charged differently, you're going to be super excited about, wow, I just turned all of that interest I was paying into cash flow, and I can't wait till I get paid again. Do you know how exciting it was when I started getting my paychecks and I realized that, wait a minute, I can see a difference. I can see that I have all of this money available to me every month to use now, that it didn't go away to some loan payment. Do you know how exciting that is? And do you know how easy that is for you to accomplish? It's super easy. I'm super excited. I wanted to jump on here just a minute to share my excitement with you because I absolutely love it. I absolutely love what is happening with my finances, that now I can finance bigger and better things. I can now do investments that I was never able to do before. Why? Only because I learned how to use the bank. Okay, I'm going to look at some comments right quick before I go. And let's see what we got here. Hello from Canada. Hello, hello. Didn't get approved for a HELOC. Okay. Do you have anything on collections? Collections is something that's already on your credit. So I would work on the totally suffocating debt that you probably have right now. The collections will come very quickly. So you have to keep working on the current stuff that you have to keep it current, and then work on those collections as you can get to them, okay? Because once something hits your credit, they've got you in a bad credit rating for 7 years, and it's a real pain in the butt, but you can get out of that pretty quickly. Hi, Van. I'm a veteran. I've been trying to reach you. All you have to do is, I have a link underneath the videos. You are welcome to go reach me there. How he could have paid it off in 5 to 7 years, he says. Case, why isn't there more people doing it? Yeah, everybody should be able to pay off their home in 5 to 7 years if you're using the correct lines of credit. Yeah, let's see. So you're all not really, you're all kind of just talking back and forth. That's good. That's good. All right. So Snoopy, you need to get your own channel, buddy. Get your own channel. Some people go in here and they start running ads. Oh my gosh, people are so funny. On the YouTube channel, you will have robots come in there and they will start trying to sell all of these investment plans and everything. And if you all watch the channel for any amount of time, you know that I don't do like stock investments and stuff like that. And that's what all of these investors are doing, is pushing their stock or whatever. I just feel like infinite banking is the best way to go. So it's super easy to build wealth when you're using a tool that is offered that will build wealth for you very quickly, and it too has kind of been swept under the rug, and they'll act like that's not, it's better if you do your 401k. Let's do the retirement pensions. Let's focus on the stock market. Let's focus on mutual funds. You hear that being pushed, right? But then when you realize that the whole life through the infinite banking concept builds wealth in awesome ways, and you're guaranteed not to lose it, guaranteed growth, that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for, is I want my money safe. Wherever it is, I want it safe. And you probably do too if you're like me. Okay? So study up, people. Don't listen to everything that everybody's pushing. When people are pushing something really, really hard, it's probably because they're making money off of that some way, or maybe they're, you know, they're building their wealth some way. But if you study and you see that, hey, wait a minute, this is gaining at compound interest, this is paying dividends, I can't lose it. That sounds like a pretty good product to me. Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good product to me too. So the point being that get educated in the finances, get educated in what kind of options are available to you in your situation, and don't just trust what everybody else is doing. There's no sense in that. You're smart. You can figure this out, and you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out. If a HELOC has interest and principal payments, is it still a line of credit or a loan difference? Okay. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit. Okay? Just because you have interest and principal payments doesn't necessarily mean it's a loan. If you can put your payment into the HELOC, say it's $1,000 payment per month, you put it into the HELOC, and then you can turn around and draw any available amounts right back off of it, then that is a revolving line of credit. Now, all of my revolving lines of credit are interest only. So if I have a balance on a HELOC, and the payment's $1,000, and then the interest is $200, then I should be able to pull that $800 right back out and use it again. That's how you know you're in a revolving line. If you are in a loan and it's being called a HELOC, then you won't be able to take withdrawals off of that loan. A loan is closed end. That means that once your payments go in, you cannot pull them back out again. The line is different. It revolves. So you can put income in and then you can pull it back out again. That's why it makes such a difference on debt elimination, because you could put, if you make $5,000 a month, you can put the whole $5,000 into the line of credit. then you could turn around and use it as you need it. But that $5,000 going into the line of credit reduces that balance by $5,000, right? So what are you going to pay? You're going to pay less interest because you reduce the balance of that line of credit. That's what we're going for here. All income being used to serve you instead of just sitting in a checking account doing absolutely nothing, okay? How is it reported on your credit report? Does the whole available amount to go against your DTI? No. No. If so, I have $100,000 right now available, let's say, in a line of credit. If I'm only using 2,000 of the 100,000, then I'm only showing $2,000 is being used in credit, right? So no, you want to keep your lines of credit as large as you can get them, because the larger your line and the less that you're using of that line, then you're going to have a stronger credit score, because they're like, oh, well, they've got, $80,000 they could be using, but they're not using it. So that's pretty good credit. So it makes it stronger. And that's another fear. A fear is that you're talking about totally. I'm going to have to remove you because you just keep selling your stuff in here. Totally making your scores stronger by keeping additional credit available that you're not using, okay? It's super, super important to keep gaining lines of credit so that you can just get more, because you're going to eventually be able to buy properties with the lines of credit by just writing a check. There is no more going to the bank to get a loan. You're using the bank for the tools that serve you. Do you think that the billionaires of the world are using loans to buy their properties? Come on. Of course not. Of course not. All right. So keep watching the channel. Like I said, there's, I think, over 1,000 videos on there for you to get some information. Some of them may line up with exactly what you have going on in your own scenario. So it's just super important that you keep getting educated, right? I always thought having too many credit cards was a strike against you, but after listening and seeing your work, I'm not concerned anymore. Yeah, that's just a fear. You know, I don't even know. I don't even know why. Um, the fear was put out there with these lines of credit, including credit cards. If they're used correctly, they're only going to build your credit. And the more credit you have available that you're not using, the stronger your credit score is going to be. Okay. I have a retirement account with my union where I worked for a few years. Not concerned about that because I have the infinite banking set up and totally excited about what my future holds financially with them. So not a retirement fan. The real question is, do you have a 401k for retirement? Nope, I do not. So there you go. And I'm okay about it. I'm okay. Does infinite banking work for immigrants or only for citizens? It works for the U.S. citizens in Canada that I know of. Okay. So I hope that answered your question. HELOC that charges interest on a daily amount on the daily balance. Okay, yeah, HELOC. Okay, yes. They charge interest on the average daily balance. Yes. Okay. The credit card gives you a 25-day grace period, so that if you charge something today, you have until the due date, right? That it won't charge interest if you pay it off on the due date, right? Okay, yes, good. All right, so I am going to jump off of here. I've been on here for a minute. going to jump off and let you guys do some research, find out what it is that you need to learn about your own finances, what you need to find out from the banks around you. It's important that you talk with the banks and the local credit unions in your area so that you get ideas of what they offer there. They all have something, okay? They all have something, and you're going to be totally excited when you get into that one thing. The infinite banking, life insurance, yes, it's whole life. Yes. Okay, so can you do a video solely on investing in real estate with your HELOC? Okay, so that is great. Great question. I know that I have many real estate investors that take the HELOC from a property, buy another property. They're doing that all day long. I hope that helps. I don't plan on making a video on that because I don't do that. And I don't teach anything that I'm not personally doing, okay? Because I want to know that whatever I'm pushing out there to you really works. That's why I talk about things with the credit cards, with the lines of credit, how to pay off those loans faster, because I've done all of that. The infinite banking, I do that. So don't want to be pushing anything out there that I'm not really sure about. But the real estate investing is done through using available equity in your own property or in your rental properties to turn around and buy more properties. Okay, Money Max can help with that as well. All right, okay, I'm going to jump off of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I